constipation, IBS. Bloating, constipation, IBS, and more. So many people, I got celiac, I got Crohn's, I got colitis, I got IBS, I got bloating, got gastric problems, gastritis, cramps, cramping, extreme distension. So many people are suffering with so many different gut problems, and it's like the same thing. It's like this probiotic, that probiotic, this gut cleanser, that gut cleanser, ACV, charcoal, back to the probiotic, back to the gut cleanser, back to the Shilajit, back to this, back to that. And it's like boom, 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 boom. Intermittent fasting. That's getting my bloating down. My bloating's down now. It's all fixed. Intermittent fasting. Whoa, it's back now. I ate. It's back. And over and over and over it goes, because that's what happens with a lot of people is they're battling bloating, constipation, other things too, loose stools, not loose stools, then it's constipation, then it's back. Or it's just straight, plain old bloating, and that's what it is. So we're talking about some cool stuff right here. Now, I know a lot of people, they fight to get their bloating down. They get the lymphatic drainage, lymphatic massage. They get their stomachs worked on. So that's a big thing right now. Everybody goes in and someone's working on their stomach. Now they're using machines on their stomachs, right, to try to get the bloating down. And then right when it's like getting a new haircut, okay? You get a brand new haircut. It's perfect. You love what you're seeing. You walk out of the salon, and then some wind hits. You hop in your car. You're like, it's still looking good. I still got my haircut. I still got my style. It's all good. By the end of the day, it's getting worse, worse, worse. By morning, you wake up, and your hair is not what you wanted it to be. It's not where it was when you just walked out of that salon. The same thing. You go get your stomach worked on. You get your lymphatic drainage worked on. You're getting your stomach just right. Then you walk out of there and you're like, okay, my stomach's down. And then you sip some water or you drink something, whatever that is. And then boom, it's back for a lot of people. Or you just start seeing it slowly coming back. Then the next day, it's slowly coming back. Third day, fourth day, you're bloated again. You got the distension, you're stuck, you're back to where you were. So let's talk about like true causes. If you're fighting any kind of bloating at all, any kind of bloating at all, you got to go to your liver. Liver, that's right. Doesn't mean eat liver. You don't want to eat liver to fix your bloating because that's not going to fix it, because people talk about that stuff too. They'll try anything. It's all about biohacks out there nonstop. But your liver, something's going on. Stagnant, sluggish liver. Stagnant, sluggish liver. Why is it stagnant? Why is it sluggish? From a lot of different things. You guys, I'm in liver rescue right now. I'm just looking through here and talking about some cool stuff. We're going to talk about this. So what happens with people is their liver gets filled up and that filter's stuffed and clogged. And then it starts to become dysfunctional. And then it doesn't produce the bile it needs to produce to break down your fats. And then it starts to weaken. And it's over 2,000 chemical functions start to become dysfunctional. And so now your liver's only running on 700 chemical functions. Now your liver's only running on 900 chemical functions. Now your liver's only running on 300 chemical functions because your liver is stagnant and sluggish and it's stuck and it's overburdened and overtired. And the 2,000 plus chemical functions that your liver does to keep you healthy, keep you alive, keep your skin looking good, keep you doing good, all that's diminishing. And then over time you get a fatty liver. Without even realizing it, people will get a fatty liver. And then your A1C goes up. And then your blood sugar is all over the place. So if you're somebody that's dealing with blood sugar problems and that's what you're living with, and you're always trying to like balance your blood sugar, you're always trying to figure out that magic combination. Well, let me eat this, let me eat that. I'm going to have salmon with a grapefruit. I'm going to have a piece of meat with a celery stick. I'm going to have something with something. I'm going to have sushi with an orange. I'm going to do whatever it is that I'm going to have nuts and seeds with raisins, whatever you're trying to do to balance that blood sugar problem. A lot of people are like, I eat hummus to try to balance it. I eat beans, I eat grains, I eat fruit, I eat vegetables. Everybody's just fighting to balance their blood sugar out there. What they don't realize is they're battling a problem much bigger than what it seems. It's not just about glucose. It's about a liver becoming dysfunctional. So one of the things that happens when your liver becomes dysfunctional is your glucose storage diminishes and starts to disappear. Your glucose storage. So right here in your liver, okay, every time you eat something that has any kind of carbohydrate, any kind of glucose, say fructose in fruit, it goes into the liver and it helps to restore the storage bin down in there. So every time you're eating something with a carbohydrate, because if you don't have a carbohydrate, if you don't have a sugar, if you don't have that fructose or glucose, you don't have that starch from something, what happens is you don't refill all of your cells with needed energy, because our energy derives from sugar. Our brain thrives and lives off of sugar. That's what our brain lives off of. You take sugar away from our brain, it dies in 10 seconds. You take sugar away from the brain, cells start to die in 5 seconds. And it just goes from there. Like as the seconds are counting down, the brain starts to die. So sugar and glucose needs to store into the liver so that your liver's releasing little bits of it, keeping your blood sugar balanced. You hear what I'm going right here, how important this is? Keeping your blood sugar balanced. Your liver is like your blood sugar balancer right there. People don't know that. Instead, they're trying to master a food. They go and biohack foods, and they're trying like, I'm trying to eat this, and at 12 o'clock I'm eating this, and at 1 o'clock I'm eating this and this. And they're trying to figure out how to keep their blood sugar, their hypoglycemia, their hyperglycemia, blood sugar spikes. They're keeping monitors on themselves. They're all freaked out about their blood sugar. They don't know what's going on. And what's really happening deep down inside is you got a tired liver that doesn't have a glucose storage bin anymore, or the liver's overburdened, stagnant, sluggish, and it's not functioning good enough to release glucose properly. It's not functioning good enough to be able to release spurts of that glucose to keep you strong. So you're not hitting the ground. So you're not, hitting the wall. So you can function and live your life. So your liver needs to actually control that glucose release, and it sends out glucose right into the bloodstream so that you're stable. So what happens is people walk around, they think they have the worst blood sugar problems because it's a blood sugar problem. They're like, it's my pancreas, what's going on? Am I pre-diabetic? What do I have going on? Meanwhile, it's the liver. It's tired, it's beaten down, it's problematic, it's stagnant, it's sluggish, and that's what's going on. So I want everybody to know that the liver plays a role in so much of your health. Over 2,000 chemical functions, and when it gets stagnant and sluggish, everything starts going wrong. You start bloating. You might get some constipation. You might get all kinds of other issues along with it. And then there's the adrenaline. So let's get the adrenals out for a little bit. That's another thing that happens. We run on a high all the time. We're always trying to get high. Everybody's out there trying to get high. They're living off of adrenaline. They're running on adrenaline every day. And then they're burning out their adrenals every day. Adrenaline's being released, and that adrenaline gets absorbed into the liver and starts to absorb into the liver, and it tires the liver out. Another reason why people have a stagnant, sluggish liver that leads to bloating is because their adrenals have released so much adrenaline. So many people are on caffeine every day. They're on their coffee, and their adrenals are just flooding everywhere like more caffeine. The adrenals are just releasing it out, right? More matcha tea, more coffee, more cacao, more caffeine. And it's just like stimulants, and the adrenals are just flooding and flooding and flooding. And that's not the only time the adrenals are flooding. When we're on a really high-fat diet all the time, we're eating fats everywhere. Whether you're plant-based, you're vegan, whether you're, vegetarian, whether you're just animal protein, A lot of people, they're on such high fat diets. There's so much fat in their diet that they're on an adrenaline high because the fats get into the bloodstream. Then your body does this emergency situation where it releases adrenaline to thin out the fats inside the bloodstream so you don't have a heart attack. And so all that adrenaline high is happening with people. They're walking around stimulated all the time. And so it's important to heal the liver, work on healing the liver, restoring the liver. So many people's problems are the liver. Okay? Eczema, psoriasis, dermatitis. The liver plays a role in that right there. Any skin problems you don't like, any kind of different dark spots on your skin, all kinds of different skin issues, the liver plays a role right there. Bloating, yes, even constipation, other digestive trouble, the liver plays a role right there. So let's move into it a little deeper, okay? One of your liver's most important jobs is to disperse bile and break down fat. And if it doesn't disperse enough bile, guess what? The fat goes rancid. Rancid, it sits in your gut and it goes bad and it goes rancid and it starts to harden up and it sits on the walls of your intestinal tract and your gut. The other role the liver does is it actually makes it so your stomach glands in your stomach stay stronger so that they can create hydrochloric acid, and the hydrochloric acid breaks down protein. The weaker your liver gets, the less protein you break down, and then your protein ends up rotting and putrefying, and then you can be stuck with all kinds of flatulence and gas, additionally tacked on to your bloating. So quick rundown. Stagnant, sluggish liver that's dysfunctional, that's not doing its 2,000 chemical functions, but instead it's doing 500 chemical functions or 400 chemical functions. It gets tired. It can't function as good as it needs to function. It gets hot. It starts to heat up. And then it loses its ability to store glucose, so your blood sugar is all over the map like this. So when you got that stagnant, sluggish liver, you guys, your glucose is all over the map. And you're just like everywhere. It's like my A1C, where's my glucose? I'm spiking, I'm lowering, I'm spiking, I'm crashing. The liver plays a huge role in all of that. The other thing, hydrochloric acid. The liver keeps your stomach glands and stomach stronger. If the liver's strong, it keeps your stomach stronger, your glands in your stomach stronger, producing higher quality quantities of HCl, which really helps someone actually break down proteins. You guys, I see a lot of people asking me what I'm talking about. I'm talking about bloating, constipation, and IBS in Liver Rescue. I don't know if you have this book right here. And then I also have Cleanse to Heal with me right here. If you guys don't have this book has saved countless lives already around the world. Check it out when you can. It's an incredible book, Cleanse to Heal. Cleanse to Heal is an important book for cleansing the liver, okay? So let's go into a little deeper into it, and we're going to cover some other stuff all around this. So it's critical to know what's going on inside your body. If you don't know what's happening inside your body, you're going to be running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to biohack, always looking for an answer, being stuck in the mud. But when you know what's going on and why you're feeling like you do and why you're struggling like you do, and you know why, things can change. You can turn things around. You can heal. You can move forward, and that's critical to know. So back to the liver a little bit. Keeping a strong liver makes it so your HCl is produced and stays strong and breaks down your protein. Critical. Or your protein will sit there and rot in your gut, and you'll have protein gut rot inside your gut, where it'll putrefy and release ammonia and gases. And then you want your liver to be strong to produce strong, ample bile. So the bile can break down and disperse the fats that you're eating when you do eat fat in your food. A weak liver means the bile will actually go rancid with the fats. Your own bile and the fats together will actually join together and putrefy and all go rancid because your bile wasn't even strong enough to break down the fat. So your bile even lost its shelf life. People with weak livers, they end up getting a fatty liver. Liver starts to get toxic and fat. And when the liver is in that condition, all these things can go wrong as well. Another thing with the liver is cholesterol readings when you go and get your blood tests. Liver problems mean cholesterol problems. Right there all on its own. High blood pressure, liver problems, unless there's a blockage somewhere. And even then, if there's a blockage somewhere with high blood pressure or heart problems, it starts originally from the liver all the way back in years before it starts with the liver. Keep that in mind. So I don't talk about it enough lately, but in order to stay healthy, we have to keep our livers healthy and strong so we can stay healthy. So cleansing the liver, strengthening it, and bringing it back is key. It's critical for healing. Back to the high that everybody's on. Everybody's chasing a high. I've said this before. People love to chase highs. And when we chase highs and we're stimulated, we're jacked up on our own adrenaline, we weaken our liver even more. Liver Rescue is legendary. It has changed the health of people worldwide. It's changed the medical system. It's changed the health system. Influencers every day all around the world, including on podcasts, are talking about information in Liver Rescue. This is the book that brought liver information to the world no one's ever even heard before. This book right here is worth a read to gain control and empowerment on your health. Let's go into it a little deeper. All right. So, you're eating. Whatever you choose to eat, you're bloating from it. So you might be somebody that's intermittent fasting. Maybe you're holding back food. Maybe you did a water fast and your water fast was like 7 days or 10 days or 14 days or 21 days. And you did a water fast and your bloating went down. And you're proud of yourself because your bloating went down. And maybe you're somebody who's intermittent fasting. You're proud of yourself because your bloating went down. Or maybe you're somebody that just didn't eat much for a few days and you're getting lymphatic drainage and you're getting your stomach worked on and they're working on you. And they're even using machines on your abdomen, abdominal machines, to try to push all the fluid out of your skin. And then the next day, it's back. You end your water cleanse, it's back. You end your intermittent fasting moments, it's back. You end, you're done with your lymphatic drainage after a little while, it's back. There it is. Your bloating is back. What the heck is going on? That's what has to be addressed. Or it's just a game. It's a charade. It's about managing. Now, it's important to manage. That's what you have to do. If you know those inner secrets about yourself where you can manage just right to try to keep the balance, to keep the bloating down, to keep the constipation at bay, if that's something you have, or even the IBS or anything else around it. If you have the secret recipe and you're using that secret recipe, then that's great. But you're also managing and micromanaging, but you're not getting down to the root, which is critical. And that's a big deal. We want to get down to the root. So let's hit ammonia gas. What happens with everybody? Okay? People get stitches. They get cramps. They get all kinds of problems with that. They get gastritis. They can get cramps and stitches that run all the way up to their neck, and even the top of their throat, their shoulder. People can have gastric cramps and gastric problems where they're bellowed over. They're hanging on a couch. They're in their bed. They're on the floor. They're trying to move around. They're trying to do yoga positions. They're trying to let gas out that's trapped. And they're trying to get that trapped gas out, right? But in that gas is ammonia. And ammonia is something that's produced from a lot of things being stagnant and sluggish in here. Ammonia is produced from foods that are actually putrefying and not breaking down, proteins that are putrefying and not breaking down, fats that are rancid, and pathogens that want to feed on what's going on that isn't being digested, that's starting to rot. Pathogens, bacteria that's not good bacteria. And when that bacteria that's not good bacteria is sitting here swimming inside your small intestinal tract and inside your colon, your ileum, it's feeding on rancid, undigested, ammonia, gas-filled, putrefied proteins and rancid fats. So the bacteria is feeding. And then the gas and the flatulence produced by that bacteria, along with the ammonia gas that's actually cycling through, that gas becomes toxic where you're getting a stitch now. So you're feeling a stitch like, oh man, or oh, I gotta let that gas out. I'm feeling a stitch, or I don't feel good, or my stomach's kind of blowing up again. And what that is, it's toxic, painful gas. You might be somebody that doesn't have the painful gas because the bacteria might be a different kind of bacteria, or you don't have a lot of bad bacteria feeding off of things, but you still have rotting, putrefied protein and rancid fats all inside the intestinal tract and the gut that's leaching out ammonia gas and putrefying, and that's creating flatulence and gas as well. So you have to roll around on the ground, on the floor. You have to move and shift your body to try to release that gas to get it out. And you might be somebody where the gas just streams out every day like that. And you might be somebody where it's trapped and you have inflammation inside the intestinal tract from pathogens inside the intestinal tract. And those pathogens have little spots in here that are inflamed. And that inflammation makes it so the gas gets stuck. So let's go into that a little bit. I want to talk about stuck gas because that's a big deal for a lot of people right there. So in your small intestinal tract, you can have narrowings and you can have distension and swellings. So a lot of people, their small intestinal tract, okay, has inconsistencies where they're expanding in some areas. It's kind of like the pipeline is expanding in certain areas or contracting in certain areas. So the gas isn't moving through properly. So it builds up in one area until it builds up, and then you move, and then boom, it starts pushing through and pushing through. And that's what happens. There's other people that have different areas, like their ileum. So right here, their ileum, problematic. The gas is stuck there. It's inflamed. The gas won't move through. And it's just stuck. And it's in the right area, the right lower region. And they're always like this. Or they're in the bathroom and they're trying to go to the bathroom and they're always holding this spot. They feel that discomfort. And there's that kind of person too. And what these little inflamed areas in the small intestinal tract from bacteria in the lining, in the wall, or even viruses in the lining in the wall, they get trapped in there. And when they're trapped in there and they're in that lining, you get a swelling and an inflammation, and then the gas heads down the pike, and when it hits that spot, it gets stuck and it blows up, and now you're bloating. So you're somebody that's actually bloating. So you got your lymphatic drainage, your lymphatic massage. They might have done like an abdominal roller on you. You're getting work done. You're getting that out. You walk away. 6 hours later, you're starting to build gas up. The gas is building up in pockets, and now you're bloating all over again. Happens every day to people. You guys, just want to say real quick before we move on with this. Medical Medium Podcast at Apple Podcast, a new episode. It's healing tools and techniques to keep you strong. Check it out when you get a chance. Medical Medium Podcast at Apple Podcasts, okay? Healing tools and techniques to keep you strong. Advertisement-free podcast. It's the only advertisement-free podcast out there. That's a #1 podcast. So check it out, you guys. when you get a chance, right? We have 5 new episodes. Blood-brain barrier is one of them. So don't miss that episode. That one alone is worth listening to. We got the microdosing episode, so check that as well right there. So microdosing, and the alcohol episode as well. So make sure you check that drinking one out. That would be a great one to actually listen to. So Medical Mean Podcast at Apple Podcasts, 5 new episodes. But the healing tools and techniques one, by far, will blow your mind. New episode each week. So keep a lookout. All right. Okay. We're in here a little bit. How many of you guys are dealing with gas that feels like it's trapped? How many of you guys are dealing with a little bit of constipation? How many guys are dealing with, you guys, feeling like your blood sugar is up and down and you're drained, or when you go to the bathroom, you're drained after you go to the bathroom? How many of you guys are dealing with distension and bloating, where you're really distended? How many of you guys are dealing with that bloating right there? Okay. So we're just going into this a little deeper and deeper. It's important to know what's going on inside your body. It's critical. Okay. Tara says, why can emotional stress trigger bloating for some people? Emotional stress for some people can trigger off adrenaline. Okay. And when the adrenals start flooding, because it's emotional stress in the adrenals and that adrenaline, it can then filter right into the liver, and the liver gets stuck very stagnant in the moment if it's already stagnant, and that can kind of short circuit the liver a little bit. A lot of people deal with that. That's one thing. There's a bunch of things that can happen though when we're under emotional stress. So many people have 5 or 10 pounds on them of bloating, but yet it's not fat. So this is interesting, really interesting. That's why when someone does something, like they'll go and they'll do, say, a water fast, or they'll go do a juice fast, or they'll go do something. Well, what happens is they have like 10 to 15 pounds, 5 pounds, 20 pounds of swelling, of fluid in their intestinal tract, swelling in their liver, stagnant, sluggish, right? Food in their intestinal tract that hasn't moved in a long time, gas and all kinds of different fluid throughout their system, and they're bloating. And what happens is they're bloating from all of that. And then when they go and they do any kind of cleanse, or they stop eating, it starts to go down, and they start releasing it. They release some of the old putrefied stuff, some of the food out of their system, some of the fluid retention goes down. And then they notice that, wait, I'm 5 pounds lighter. I'm 10 pounds lighter. But it wasn't 5 pounds of fat that they just lost. And it wasn't 10 pounds of fat that they just lost. They're now 5 pounds lighter, 10 pounds lighter of putrefied stuff that's in their system. Fluid retention, pus, stagnant, sluggish, fluid-filled liver. And they stopped eating and it went down. Or they didn't eat much and it went down. A lot of people who are intermittent fasting, they go without food and they're just on coffee all day, they're on stimulants all day, and they go without food, and they're noticing they slim down a little bit. But it doesn't mean they're losing fat really quickly or anything. They're losing swelling and bloating. But we can't just do that. We have to do things where we take care of ourselves and we eat every day, and we're doing things that are cleaning it up on a daily basis and healing the stagnant, sluggish liver to begin with. So we're not all over the place, like up and down and all that. A lot of people feel a little better in the morning after sleeping. When they drink water, afterwards they bloat right back up. So you go to bed at night, you're bloated, you're out to here. You go to bed, you wake up in the morning and it's down. Your liver got a chance throughout the night to pack up some toxins and ship it out, and your bloating's down now. And then you drink water all of a sudden or something else, and you're starting up in the morning and the bloating comes back fast. And it comes back fast, and now it's building up all day long. So your bloating is building up. A lot of people try not to drink much during the day or eat much during the day because they don't want to be bloated. So they're withholding food all day long. They're withholding fluid all day long. And you'll notice, like a lot of times, influencers tend to go really dehydrated. Really dehydrated. They're drinking their coffee only all morning, all afternoon, and they're literally dehydrating themselves. Then they go and they get a lymphatic drainage while they're dehydrated. And their lymphatic therapist says, make sure you drink a lot of water when you're done with this. And they don't even want to drink water. They get done with their lymphatic massage and they have a little sip and it starts to come back. A few sips and it starts to come back. So a lot of people right now, that fit into their swimsuit and so forth, they're like going dehydrated. And that's not the way to do it either. That's not healthy either. It's not the way to battle this. So Nicole over there on IG says, why does green juice bloat me? Well, if my thoughts here with that question are, what happens with a lot of people, so nothing else bloats you? It's only green juice? So you're just somebody that's never bloated or you're not bloated? And then it's green juice that only bloats you? Like you're not bloated ever. You live your life, you eat your dinner, you eat your breakfast, you eat your lunch. You're living your life. You're drinking what you want, eating what you want, doing what you want. And all of a sudden you have a sip of green juice and you're bloated now. Or is it you already have a bloating problem? You're fighting bloating all the time. It just so happens when you drink green juice too, you get bloated from that as well. Because that's probably what's happening, I think, right? So it's not like you go through life and you're never bloated, ever. And then all of a sudden, green juice makes you bloated, but soda doesn't. Coffee doesn't. Nothing else makes you bloated. A bagel or plant-based eating or vegan eating or animal protein eating, whatever it is, nothing gets you bloated. It's just green juice. It's just something to think about. Or you get bloated all the time, you're struggling with bloat, but when you have green juice, it seems to come on a little bit more. If you're somebody and you're really toxic, a lot of stuff is sluggish, your liver's sluggish, and you put some pretty healthy stuff in you, there's a good chance it's going to start detoxifying you right away. And you could get a little bit of bloat from stuff being pushed out, starting to get pushed out. People will eat only a little piece of meat or an egg or a piece of chicken. Just a little piece with like 2 leaves of lettuce and a little piece of chicken because they don't want too much in their stomach. They don't want to feel that bloating because if they eat too much, they're bloated. And people go on dates. They never tank. If it's a brand new date, someone goes on a date and they're sitting at the table in the restaurant, no one's tanking. No one's like, I'm going to eat this big stack of pancakes in front of you right here. And I'm stuffed. And then you leave the table just stuffed, right? I'm going to eat this 12-ounce steak right now on this first date right here. People go on dates, they usually hold back food all day long. You know anybody that's ever done this? When women go on dates, they hold back food all day long for the date. Because they don't want to bloat out. They don't want to be bloated on any level. They want to be able to fit into whatever they want to fit into. They want to look good for their date. Same thing with guys. Guys will just all of a sudden, they'll be intermittent fasting the whole day so that when the date happens, everybody's holding their stomachs in. No one wants to be like bloated. And then when they order dinner, they're eating a little something. That's how you can always tell if it's a first date out there. Like no one's eating anything. And then, that's what happens. Because if they did, no one's going to just tank and then be bloated, and that's how it works. People eat very little a lot of times during the day to keep their bloating down so they can feel like they're like flat, right? And then they eat a vegetable and fruit with fiber and water and lots of just water rich. And they eat all these vegetables and all these fruits and all that pulp and that pectin and that fiber and that water rich, right? Those nutrients are all going down and it's feeling kind of like bulk. And all of a sudden they're feeling it in their intestinal tract. Let's talk about that. Let's head into that direction a little bit. That deserves a few minutes. If you guys got a few minutes. Why is it that a lot of people who are eating like leafy greens and fruits and vegetables, and they can feel that roughage so much. And they say, I can't do that. I have to be carnivore. I can only eat meat only. I can only eat eggs only. Because every time I eat a vegetable or a fruit or something, anytime I eat any of that, I feel it in my gut and it doesn't digest and it doesn't break down. I can't eat raw because if I eat raw, I can feel it. It kind of hurts. It makes me feel uncomfortable. All that roughage is moving through me. And then they go to somebody, they go to a health coach or whatever, and the health coaches don't have all that roughage. You can't have all that roughage. Just eat eggs only. Do just eggs every day. Like have 6 eggs a day. How many people have seen people do that? A lot. And they're eating like 6 eggs a day. Eat eggs and cheese. This way, you're not like dealing with all that roughage of all the vegetables and all the fruits. But that doesn't fix it. The eggs and the cheese, that doesn't fix it. So what happens is the reason why people can feel all that roughage sometimes, like raw lettuces and raw kale and raw collard greens and raw zucchini and raw red bell peppers and raw tomatoes. They feel it because they're inflamed in the intestinal tract. So when that's moving through you, you feel it more, and the nerve endings on the intestinal tract linings are sending signals to you that it's not digesting, it's not breaking down, but it is breaking down, it is digesting, you just don't know it. So a lot of people, they go into panic, they go into fear, and they think they're not breaking down their food, and they can't eat lettuce, and they can't eat a tomato, and they can't eat a red bell pepper, and they can't eat an apple because they feel it, and it's just too much roughage, and it's moving through them, and they're better off just eating like eggs every single day, something soft like ice cream and eggs and cheese and maybe chicken or something or some meat, and that's all they feel like they can do. But they don't realize that what happens is that the fruits and the leafy greens and vegetables are actually letting people know there's hot spots in their intestinal tract. Those hot spots are inflamed areas where the nerves are sensitive because of pathogens, viruses and bacteria that are in the linings of the intestinal tract, nesting in there. And when they're in there nesting, they're creating inflammation, which are hot spots. So as you're eating the roughage, and the roughage is going down there, and the lettuces and the greens are moving through, they're hitting those hot spots. And that's when people are feeling it. Like, I can't digest. I'm not digesting. Something's wrong. I can't break down the food. I need to be on just like 4 eggs a day and some kind of like mono, carnivore thing or something. And they don't realize it is they got sensitive nerves and sensitive linings, and they're just feeling it. It doesn't mean it's not breaking down or digesting. So let's get to the liver a little bit more, okay? Rejuvenating the liver, bringing the liver back. That is one of the big keys. If you want to take control over your health, it's bringing back the liver. And so many people are, eating better, and they're doing better things now out there. And so their liver's improving just from the good things they're doing. It doesn't mean it's getting them out of the woods entirely. So bringing back the liver, getting it out of stagnancy and sluggishness, getting it out of overburdenedness, bringing it back, key right there to IBS, to bloating, to constipation, getting your stomach strong. So let's go into the stomach a little bit. You guys, important, okay? Inside your stomach are glands. Those glands produce your HCl. That HCl is everything. Everything. That hydrochloric acid, which is a 7 blend of acids, that HCl is critical to breaking down your food, but also breaking down different aspects of the food so that we get the nutrients we need and we get what we need to get out of it. Right there. Okay? So the stomach glands, HCl, big part of recovery. Big part of recovery for the liver too. So if you're somebody that's out there and you're like, I got hypoglycemia, my blood sugar's all over the place, I'm struggling with that, I got bloating, I got problems, constipation, I got IBS, or I had IBS, or I got gas, or I got all kinds of stitches and cramps, gastritis, diagnosis, maybe somebody with Crohn's colitis, maybe somebody dealing with that, ammonia gas leaching through the body, maybe you smell, maybe you're somebody and you stink, so you just got smell coming out of your pits, and you got smell coming off of you, and people, somebody in your family or somebody, your friend is just like, man, you smell? You go, what's going on? Are you okay? You got a strong smell. What is going on with you? Maybe you're somebody that just, they stink. That's another thing too. It's from getting toxic and getting the liver toxic and everything being all hung up and stuck and sluggish, stagnant. So it's critical to get these things better. So another thing too, let's go into it. A lot of people's livers are inhabited. They're inhabited from pathogens and pathogens. You're sitting inside the liver. Viruses, bacteria, sitting inside the liver, EBVs, HHV6s, cytomegaloviruses, HHV7s, simplex 1, 2, all these different bugs, strep, staph, H. pylori, all sitting inside the liver, making it more stagnant and more sluggish. So eating foods that don't feed those bugs is critical to recovery. So knowing what foods to eat. It's critical to have the information right there, like liver rescue and cleanse the heal. Right there. Important information. One of the reasons why so many people heal from celery juice, drinking their celery juice every day, is because it's restoring the stomach glands inside of the stomach, the ones that produce your gastric acid, which is your HCl, and the celery juice every single day gives you a liver flush. If you have it in the morning, especially gives you a liver flush. Helps to push the poisons and the toxins out. And another thing the celery juice does too is it lowers pathogen proliferation. Breaks down bugs and pathogens, bringing them down to a lower level over time. That's just one of the medical medium tools. If there's any reason to do just that tool alone, it's these right here. Medical medium is not one size fits all. It's customizable with hundreds of healing tool options and protocols to get you better, so you understand what is going on. So one of the best places to start if you have bloating is the Medical Medium Morning Cleanse. Check it out when you get a chance, you guys. It's a Medical Medium Morning Cleanse. It's right here in Cleanse to Heal. It's one great place to start. If you have any bloating, IBS, any kinds of intestinal tract issues, if you think you have a liver problem, if you've got blood sugar issues too, this is critical right here. Got the mono eating cleanse you can customize to yourself. And you can customize for yourself so many other different cleanses that are in Cleanse to Heal. That is a book you have to have. So make sure you get it when you get a chance, okay? There's protocols for bloating in here as well. Anyway, you guys, check out Medical Medium Podcast, that Apple Podcast, when you get a chance. I released 5 new episodes. The Healing Tools and Technique episode that I just released is mind-blowing, very healing, powerful. And then you got the microdosing, the alcohol one. You got the blood-brain barrier. Check those out when you get a chance. And then you got Food Wars too. That's a great episode as well. And Tammy says Cleanse to Heal is an excellent book. Incredible. Join the Medical Medium broadcast channel on IG. Okay? So on IG, it's called Inside Scoop. It's on IG. So join that broadcasting channel. I'm leaving messages every day. So make sure you check that out. Also check out my Telegram. Get on there. I'm leaving messages on Telegram. And also get on my Medical Medium newsletter. So let's talk about constipation a little bit. Constipation. Most constipation issues are from inflamed areas inside the intestinal tract. Somebody might have an inflamed area in the ileum. Somebody might have an inflamed area, the descending colon, the ascending colon, And what happens is because it's inflamed, poop can't move through. Okay? Another reason why people have constipation issues is peristaltic action has stopped because their vagus nerve is causing a problem. Where the vagus nerve is inflamed, not getting the right signals to the intestinal tract. So it's neurological constipation is what I call it. So it's another reason so many people get constipation. And another reason why is because when they're inflamed with a lot of bad bacteria in certain pockets of the intestinal tract, and expansions and narrowings have occurred. And so the fecal matter gets hung up and stuck in different areas. Between that and the peristaltic action not being there, plus areas that are inflamed, all these things can heal. So many people on Info have gotten their inflammation down in their gut, restored their livers, and they're going to bathroom great, better than they ever did their whole life. Susan says, my bloating has gone away since starting the morning cleanse. Incredible. That's in Cleanse to Heal. Anyway, you guys. And Astro Travel says, not anymore, thanks to medical medium, but used to be a huge health issue for me. Open to Heal says, on YouTube, all bloating healed with medical medium. Thanks so much. You guys, I love you guys. Check out the books when you get a chance. I want you better. I want you healing. And get on my newsletter. Going to be making some big announcements pretty soon. Charlotte says, how long can it take on medical medium to heal major bloating and severe fluid retention? Everybody's different, depending on how many exposures, how inflamed they've been, how long they've been inflamed, all of it. But you can get that customized information from the books. And you guys, just letting you know right now, so I'm going to be doing a book signing at some point. I'm just forewarning everybody. It's going to be in LA. I do know that. I don't have a date yet, but I'm letting you know it's looking good. So I've never done an official book signing ever since, 9 books ago. And so just keep an eye out. Get into my newsletter so you can know where that's going to be. So if you bring your books to me, just boom, I'll sign it. Anyway, guys, and when it comes down to like how long it takes to heal bloating, it depends on what you're doing. Are you doing enough celery juice? Are you doing the morning cleanse? How long you're doing the morning cleanse? Are you doing the mono cleanse because you had a diagnosis of like Crohn's or colitis? You've been sick a long time. All these things matter with bloating. Some people get their bloating better in days and weeks, and some people it takes months because they're healing a deeper issue in the intestinal tract and gut. Yep. Are you staying away from troublemakers? Are you staying away from caffeine? Are you staying away from charcoal? Are you staying away from ACV? Are you staying away from toxic water? Like all the newfangled water trends out there. Be careful, beware. What are you doing? Gotta look out there too. You're not doing sodium bicarbonate, I hope not. Things like that. You gotta be cautious about what's your history. How many antibiotics have you had throughout the years? How many infections? How many UTIs? How many, different gastritis attacks? How much antibiotics you used? All these things matter, determine how fast you're going to heal. But that's the whole point. Everybody customizes it, and they go and they work on it and they heal. Anyway, guys. All right. I'll see you next time. Keep a lookout. Check things out. Get in my newsletter. Okay. Going to be making some announcements, and I'm looking forward to it. And it's been great, you guys. Love you much. I'll see you soon.